Welcome, one and all. Today we have a very special episode because we have a very special guest. Jordan Tomasone is a YouTuber and blogger whose content focuses on building a better self and achieving success in various areas of life. Jordan wants to share his story with the world and talk about how to achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life. So, Jordan, welcome to the show as such.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Appreciate the call. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Great. So today we're going to talk about perfectionism, or being a perfectionist.
Yes. So I actually made another video recently about perfectionism, which I'm going to link down to in the description. So I thought I'd talk a little bit first about, and we'll bounce ideas of each other.
Yes.
A little bit about perfectionism, about content creation. So a lot of people have, a lot of hobbies, and things they do. For us, it's, one of them is making videos.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy to fall into a trap where you can wait to start on a project or wait to start working on a project because you're trying to have the perfect idea before you begin creating. But I think, well, in my experience, I've found it to be a lot more rewarding if I just start making the content first and just have a kind of mindset of gradually improving it. I've definitely also had this, because I also make music.
Okay.
I've definitely also had this with some of my music projects, where I'm just like, I've been putting off releasing some music for a long time, and I think this year I'm going to try and crack down on just going with some ideas and just trying to make it the best I can, else it'll never get released. So yeah, what do you think about that? Like perfectionism about content and creating things.
Yeah, I definitely I feel the same way. And you mentioned the music thing. I don't create my music, but I played guitar for a little bit, about a year or so. And after playing guitar for that amount of time, I realized how difficult music is and how people who create music they are perfect. That's what it is. Like when you see a performance on stage, it is perfectionism. As to how much they stress out about it or how much they do it, I'm not too sure. But definitely for myself as well, whenever I'm thinking about starting new projects or even doing things at school or work, I always go online and I do a bunch of research, and I always I'm trying to find the best way to do it, or what's better than this, what's kind of good, and what other people think about it. And sometimes I find I stress out so much about before I even do anything that I put in all this research that I stress out, and then I end up just getting so stressed out that I don't even do it.
Yeah. I've had kind of similar experiences with that. So I think if I could, on this point, I think it's also important to remember that if you delay things too much in terms of creating content, it can actually become too late and you miss the opportunity that you had, because in the future you may not have as much time, especially if you're a young person. Now is the time to, if you have more free time, now is the time to begin your creative projects, because I think when you're older there's just less time, so seize the day. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think there's a fine line? Because I always hear some people talk about you have 5 seconds to do something, or if you don't do it in a certain amount of time, then you will pretty much not do it at all. Do you think there's a time limit, or do you find yourself using some kind of time limit in that setting?
I haven't really got any rough and ready rules for it as such. But I think I'm trying to make my attitude more one of, remembering that one day your time runs out.
Yeah.
So, while we're here, just trying to make the absolute best of it, and not waste this opportunity that I have. As I said, I don't have any particular time limits like that. But yeah, that's just my kind of general attitude.
Okay.
Cool. So the next thing I wanted to talk briefly about is kind of perfectionism about how you feel, because I think sometimes it's possible to especially if you are into some of the more spiritual ideas, you can fall into this trap of needing to feel perfect before being able to accept kind of where you are. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's something I've more recently came into acceptance with, is the whole like feelings part of it. Because with the past few months or so have been just like stressful and difficult with work and all that. And one thing I've been trying to accept is just like feeling not so good or not feeling perfect, as we're talking about perfectionist, which is a hard thing to accept, definitely. But if you can accept it, it's huge. Like because if you don't accept it, you get all that like that stress, that anxiety, and built up emotion that you don't know what to do with. But being able to just feel okay with yourself or feel okay with what's going on, I think is a huge step in actually like accepting it and then moving on. And then you will be able to move on to what you think is perfect, but you may not get there, and that's okay too. And as long as you can feel comfortable with it, you'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to have another video out on Jordan's channel where we talk about the present moment and accepting the present moment. And yeah, I think there's definitely a power to that. Like, there's a power in kind of acceptance. Yeah, I mean, my point with that would be, yeah, because life basically isn't about, feeling good all the time, right? There's phases of kind of light, phases of darkness, but it's important to remember that it's all part of the same journey, and the more challenging times are there to help you grow. That's how I see it. There's lessons in that, and if you stop being so needing to feel perfect right now, it can come naturally with time. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how to become less of a perfectionist if you think it's creeping in. We've kind of given some ideas here. I think for the present moment, accepting the present moment, obviously you've got things like meditation. That can be a very healthy habit to bring in. What do you think in terms of practical things that people could do to become less perfectionist? What kind of ideas do you think we could have?
Yeah, I think a big part of this whole perfectionist idea we have is all of the social media and all the like stimulus we have from the outside world. Whereas you see like on magazines or on TV, and you see all these people that are perfect, but they're Photoshop and they spend hours on their makeup, or they spend hours picking out their outfit, or they spend like a year at the gym. Whereas you get people that they see that and they go, oh, they got super muscular and super beautiful in 2 seconds, but they don't see the years and the struggles and everything that they went through. So I think a great way to get away from the perfectionist mentality is to avoid that social media and all the pictures and videos of perfect people and perfect things. Because when
quote unquote, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because when you see that, it's years of hard work, and especially if we're talking about music as well. When you see somebody that plays a song on stage or you hear their music, it's years. Like they spend 1 year to 2 years making an album, or even a movie. Like those take 1.5 to 3 years to make. Like it's amazing the amount of time that goes into these things.
Definitely, I think another point with that is that things like movies especially are built by teams, and so I think perfectionists, because I can naturally be have perfectionist tendencies. I feel I think perfectionists also sometimes have a tendency to want to do everything themselves, whereas a lot of the best things were created by teams, and the best best kind of movements of progress in the world were created by teams. Yes, you had some exceptional individuals like Einstein, whatever, but I think if you if you are a perfectionist, perhaps also consider the idea of being able to work with people rather than trying to do everything yourself, make it perfect yourself, because that's very challenging, and the better result will often come when you're working with other people. Like you were just saying how you've got who's the guy you work with? Is it Jason or
Jacob? Yeah.
Jacob, that's it. Yeah. See, I'm currently doing these videos by myself, but I might start working in teams later on if it proves worthwhile.
Yeah, I think that's a great topic to mention for sure, because I know we get within ourselves quite a bit, and we think we know everything, or we think we don't need help. But really, to ask somebody for help, or even bring them in with you and let them help you, is massive. Like, it's huge. Like, you mentioned Einstein, and yes, he was a genius, but a lot of us don't have that skill or that mindset that we can just do everything by ourselves. So it is difficult, though. It's weird. We like to think we know everything. We can do everything by ourselves. And I know for myself, I find I take on too many tasks and too many things, and by doing that, I get counterproductive and not as much gets done. So by being able to kind of put some of the workload on somebody else that you can trust is a great benefit for not only getting things done, but avoiding as much stress in your life.
Sure, definitely. And I think, the last thing I was going to talk about, we're going to talk about today is how you can develop your skills and kind of you can improve. Because the topics we talk about are kind of self-development, self-improvement, or improving skills in certain ways. And I thought it would be good to just talk a bit about how you can develop skills over the long term without falling prey to these, perfectionist traps. So like one thing that, I'm trying to focus on at the moment is seeing the bigger picture and trying to think long term. So for example, when it comes to my videos, I had a realization recently that what I kind of want to try and do is with each video, try and make it just a little bit better than the one before in some sense. Now, obviously, this can't continue indefinitely, and there's obviously going to be kind of plateaus and things. But I think it's good to just look at the overall arc of progress, because then you see that you might be miles away from where you want to get to, but it's okay, because true progress and getting really good at something does can take, as you said before, it can take years and teams and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a great skill to have, is to look long term, which is something I find a lot of people don't do, and that's kind of where we all want that immediate gratification or that instant development, and it just doesn't happen. And yeah, I kind of see it the same way, whereas I try and do almost like every day, just see how I've performed better than the last day, or see how this day has been grateful towards me, so that I can focus on those long-term goals and always keep those in mind, and understand that they do take time, and that each day is kind of one step towards that. Or even if you want to, like for me, and for you as well, I believe you release videos every week, so you have 52 videos or 52 weeks in a year. And what are you going to do with that? And how can you progress over each week instead of thinking over 1 year, right?
Yeah, I may have to take breaks. I'm currently doing one video a week. I may be taking breaks, but definitely like trying to see the overall arc of progress, rather than trying to jump to perfection now because you feel like, it has to be, it's like consistency is kind of more important, I think, in the long term.
Definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So that was it. Yeah. How to be less of a perfectionist. Thank you very much, Jordan, for the interview. I'm going to put a link in the description to the video that we're doing on his channel, and also I'll just put a link to his website and channel down below. So thank you, Jordan, for the interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Cool. No worries. And I'll see you next time. Peace.